Oh no, the great white dope is at it again. Go figure. Hey guys, what's going on? This is the conservative speaking, and right now I'm going to talk about the testimony that General Milley and Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin gave at a Senate hearing today, which openly contradicted Biden's initial testimony that he gave. Biden's initial interview that he gave uh, of about, I believe, about a month ago or so, with George Stephanopoulos stating that he did not receive any intel to keep 2,500 troops in Afghanistan, with the knowledge that by not doing so, that the Afghan government was going to collapse due to the Taliban. So, obviously, General Milley and Lloyd Austin gave testimony stating that 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 they did brief Joe Biden into keeping the troops there, because by not doing so, that would destabilize Afghanistan, and Afghanistan would then fall victim to the Taliban takeover, that is exactly what happened when Joe Biden decided to withdraw the troops in April, and then the takeover began in August. And there's already reports that Joe Biden knew about the potential government collapsing under the Taliban. There were even telephone transcripts of Joe Biden having a conversation with then Afghan President Gandhi, and what was in the transcripts was that the president of Afghanistan told Joe Biden that there could be a potential takeover by the Taliban due to not having the presence of U.S. forces in Afghanistan. And Joe Biden knew of this, and yet Joe Biden told the Afghan president to just pretend, just come up with some type of excuse to say that the Afghan army were going to keep the Taliban at bay, and that everything was going to be fine. So, in the end, the Afghan president knew what was going to happen. He decided to bail, and Joe Biden, knowing the fact, he knew that by withdrawing the troops, that the Afghan government was going to collapse under the Taliban, and there would be a Taliban takeover. And yet Joe Biden decided to go with the plan of withdrawing the troops, even one month ahead of time, and despite the fact that he knew that this was going to cause the Afghan government to collapse and have Afghanistan being taken over by the Taliban. Okay, and by this happening, the Taliban were able to take over, and Joe Biden wound up taking the troops with him, but yet left the U.S. civilians behind. The same people that decided to volunteer their services for this country, only to find out that the country doesn't feel the same way about them. Amazing. So what you're going to hear right now is General Milley and Lloyd Austin giving a statement that openly contradict what Joe Biden said months ago in an interview with George Stephanopoulos. So without further ado, I want you to watch this and observe.
Defense, former VA Secretary. He is Colonel Robert Wilkie. He's back with us. First, thank you for your service to our country. Generals Milley, Austin, and McKenzie. Colonel, they testified today to Senate Armed Services that, yes, we recommended to the president keep 2,500 troops in Afghanistan. The president said to ABC's George Stephanopoulos he was never told that. What do you make of this?
Well, it was a remarkable day, and it's good to be back with you, Liz. I've never heard in my 30 years experience, and even going back in history, 2 4-star generals and a retired 4-star general openly contradict the President of the United States.
Now, keep in mind, okay, they had no choice to do this. They're at a Senate hearing, and the Senate hearing is just as equivalent as being in court. It's just as equivalent as being in a court hearing. It's just as equivalent as you being in a deposition. You're under oath, and obviously, if they lie under oath, they can both go to jail for perjury. So it wouldn't be in their best interest to lie. They had no choice but to tell the truth, and they told the truth, nothing but the truth. So help them God. And it may look as if they threw Biden under the bus, but keep in mind, it was Joe Biden that initially said that he didn't receive any intel. Well, that clearly didn't age well.
I have, as Undersecretary, I worked with General Milley and very closely with General McKenzie, and I never believed that McKenzie would have sanctioned an operation like this. And now we know that the senior leadership of the Pentagon kept advising the president.
Oh, by the way, I wanted to let you guys know that this information was made courtesy to Fox Business Live.
That this would end the way it ended if he did not retain the capability to protect Americans, but also to deter the Taliban. Regardless of what you think about our presence in Afghanistan, whether we should have stayed for the long run or not, that's irrelevant. What happened on the ground is right at the feet of those in the White House, the National Security Council, and ultimately with the President of the United States.
You know, military experts agree the withdrawal was a fiasco. It came in the context of the entire 20-year chaotic war. Generals Milley and McKenzie also confirmed they told the president, don't do a rapid withdrawal. Afghanistan will collapse. Republicans, including Senator Blackburn, say this push to rush out resulted in the deaths of 13 troops and abandonment of countless citizens and allies.
This was the plan all along. Joe Biden had zero intentions of getting the most vulnerable people out of Afghanistan. It was all about doing it his way. He wanted to get the troops out the whole time. Now, one time did he even think about getting the American servicemen out. You get the most vulnerable people out first, then you get the troops out, then you get the weapons out, and then you leave Afghanistan. You see, this was the plan that would have been initiated had the Great White Hope, Donald Trump, were in office. But Joe Biden was so adamant in doing it his way. Okay, Donald Trump left the perfect plan for Joe Biden. Perfect plan. All Joe Biden had to do was follow it to a T. But Biden, slow Biden, the Great White Dope, Joe Biden, senile Joe, clearly wanted to do things his way and decided that he was going to do it his way. He was so adamant that he decided to get the troops out no matter what. And he actually did it a month prior to the initial withdrawal of the month of May. And because of this is what happens. And what makes this even worse is the simple fact that he had intel. He knew ahead of time that by doing this, that the government was going to collapse. And he knew that it was going to collapse. Yet Joe Biden did not think at one time to get the most vulnerable people out first, prior to doing all of this. So this just tells you where Joe Biden's mindset is at.
That's a heavy thing to have to deal with. What do you say?
It is a debacle. The Economist was right that this is Biden's debacle. 13 Americans were lost. We were exposed to...
For no reason at all. For no reason. Those 13 people should have been the first ones out prior to getting the troops out. But again, this is Joe Biden putting every other interest first except the American people. Joe Biden let the American people down, and because of that, blood is on his hands.
To the world, at least under this administration, as a paper tiger. He's ripped asunder the Western alliance. And don't just listen to me. Listen to Merkel and Macron and Johnson, who've said that this man has done more damage to Western unity than any president since NATO was founded in 1949. This is a train wreck of cataclysmic proportions, and we still have another 3 years left of it.
The chair of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, General Mark Milley,
I wonder if people are getting buyer's remorse right now. I mean, Joe Biden hasn't even been in office for a year, and yet he's blundering domestic policy. He's blundering foreign policy. He's causing conflict all throughout. There are people still stuck in Afghanistan right now. Hundreds of people still stuck in Afghanistan. All because of this weak, pathetic, pitiful president who didn't have a plan and who didn't try to fix his wrong. Amazing.
Testified today that, yes, he did talk to the Washington Post reporter and also Bob Woodward. He talked to other Washington Post reporters. He talked to the Wall Street Journal when they were working on their books. He's admitting that, yeah, I did talk to them. He also said that the Taliban repeatedly violated President Trump's Doha agreement. The Taliban never broke its affiliation with al-Qaeda. Colonel, there's also highlights we have that we'd like you to react to from today's hearing. Watch this.
Joe Biden making the Taliban great again. Amazing.
General Milley, it's your testimony that you recommended 2,500 troops approximately stay in Afghanistan?
My assessment was back in the fall of 20, and it remained consistent throughout, that we should keep a steady state of 2,500, and it could bounce up to 3,500.
General McKenzie, do you share that assessment?
Senator, I do share that assessment.
It's a simple question, Secretary Austin. He said no senior military leader advised him to leave a small troop presence behind. Is that true or not? Did these officer and General Miller's recommendations get to the president personally?
Their input was received by the president and considered by the president, for sure.
On August 18th, in a media interview to the American people, the president said that none of his military advisors told him that he should keep U.S. forces in Afghanistan. General Milley, that was a false statement by the President of the United States, was it not?
I didn't even see the statement, to tell you the truth.
I'm reading you a truthful statement. That was a false statement.
Yeah, look,
I don't have a lot of time.
Okay,
was that a false statement to the American people?
I'm not going to categorize a statement of a president of the United States.
Woo! They got Millie on the run. They got that man on the run. He was squirming. He was just perplexed. He was just like, "Ooh, how am I going to get out of this?" Okay. Well, look, I'm not going to speak about anything that the president had to say. Of course you can't. Of course you can't. Amazing. Millie really must have felt really hot in that hot seat.
President Biden keeps calling it an extraordinary success. We've discussed some of this today. Is leaving Americans behind an extraordinary success in your view? Secretary Austin?
We're not leaving Americans
yes
behind.
Yes or no is fine. Is the killing of 13 American servicemen and women while trying to secure a chaotic evacuation of the president's own making an extraordinary success?
The loss of any civilian life is always tragic.
Yeah, you notice these people should run for office. They answer questions just like a politician. They don't answer the question. That's just what it is. Obviously, There's blood on Biden's hands. You know, it has, once again, and I've said this in the last video, it must be great to know that you can be responsible for multiple deaths and yet you don't have to worry about going to jail for it. It's amazing. It's amazing that that Joe Biden, the president of the United States, can practically be responsible for your death, right? And yet he doesn't have to worry about going to jail or getting sued for it. Nothing at all. I guess being the president of the United States gives you the license to kill, or you can have the negligence to kill and not be responsible for it, because hey, you are the leader of the free world. All right, you are looked upon, and you're looked upon as being the person that's on top of the pedestal, on top of the food chain, and you're looking at all the other people that you're supposed to serve. You're looking at them as peons. Amazing.
Your top military advisors warned against withdrawing on this timeline. They wanted you to keep about 2,500 troops.
No, they didn't. It was split. That wasn't true.
So no one told your military advisors did not tell you, no, we should just keep 2,500 troops.
No one said that to me that I can recall.
How can you not?
Oh, I wonder what Joe Biden is going to say about this now. I mean, they can't say that that he has another slip in judgment, or they can't say that he has dementia, because if so, they need to get the 25th Amendment and get him out of there. Ooh, amazing. Big shout out to Fox News for being able to actually put this out there. They have his statement that he originally made that he can't retract, and they have the original Senate hearing, and it clearly shows that Biden is a liar. But what else is new?
I recall that when the generals testified that, yeah, we did tell him that.
Well, that's exactly right. But look, this is a 40 to 50 year pattern with Joe Biden. Remember, in the one major foreign policy success of the Obama administration, the killing of Osama bin Laden, he was foursquare against that. He's been wrong about the Soviet Union. He was wrong in Vietnam. And the sad thing is that in those days, he didn't have his hands close to the levers of kinetic power. And now he does, and Americans have suffered because of that. The notion that a president of the United States would ignore sound military advice just designed to protect Americans, not to carry out some grand strategic vision that the president didn't happen to agree with, but to protect young Americans in many cases, Americans and their allies.
This is why Biden is not a leader. All right? He is unqualified for the job. I mean, we can recall governors. Why can't we recall the president? Why not? I mean, now obviously the only people that can do that would be Congress, but it's, I mean, this is a sham. All right? The man had no plan. All right? And he had no regard for those U.S. servicemen and women. No regard at all. His goal was to get the troops out and get the hell out of Dodge. Amazing.
And our allies who had given so much to the cause. That is unfathomable, and you really can't find anything in American history that compares to that.
You know, Colonel, let's stay on also this. By the way, General Milley testified he did nothing wrong with this phone call to China, he was saying he'll give China heads up if there's military action under Trump. There's a lot of controversy over that, but the Pentagon...
And okay, and by the, you know, and the only reason why he can say that is because he's kissing the butts to, you know, to the Democratic Congress. That's the only reason why that he's able to say that. I mean, even saying something like that, honestly, the man should be tried for treason. That's just crazy that you can just speak to our enemies and give a heads up in case we want to attack them. This is our government.
Pentagon Chief Austin said he can't confirm or deny if 4,000 Americans are still stranded in Afghanistan. One number has it at 100. We have breaking news. A charter flight just flew 100 Americans out of Afghanistan. Your take on this? Pew Research is now saying that 55% of Americans don't have confidence in the Biden White House to adequately vet the roughly 95 Afghans coming in. What do you say to that?
Well, I think they're absolutely right. And you led in with Liz with the piece about the southern border. It's the same mentality. They're unleashing thousands and thousands of people into the United States who haven't been vetted. It's the same thing with Afghanistan. We don't know who.
Exactly, because their whole goal is to create a whole new demographic of Democrats that are just going to keep them in power and keep emphasizing their policies to control Americans and practically take away their rights. This is what they're doing, all right? They figure that the only way that they can stay in power is to create a whole new demographic, because they know that real Americans are not going for this at all. At all. Real Americans are not going to give up their rights. That's going to cause for a revolt. People will revolt when you start taking away their rights. So they figure, well, let's just replace them with a whole new group of people that will vote for us, and then we will continue to have control of the people. Because there's one thing that Democrats can't stand is individualism. Democrats can't stand people being individuals and having individualistic freedom. Democrats don't like freedom. They like control.
We've taken out. This is a colossal failure. And what you saw on the part of the majority in that committee today was constantly bringing up Donald Trump. Well, Donald Trump's been out of office for 9 months, and the situation on the...
That's right. When in doubt, blame the great white hope, Donald Trump. Blame him for taking out troops well before you should have. Blame him for leaving hundreds and thousands of American servicemen. Blame him for all of that. Okay? At the end of the day, Joe Biden, you're the one that's in control. All right? It was your call to do the things that you did. It was your call to withdraw the troops. It was your call to leave the servicemen behind. Then it was your call to try to fix it. And then it was your call to then listen to the Taliban and allow the Taliban to tell you when you need to get out of Dodge. It's on you. All right? The mess is on you. The blood is on you. Loser.
Ground changed drastically when he left. The Taliban was emboldened because they're pretty good political actors too, and they certainly understand Mr. Biden's track record, and they took full advantage of it.
Colonel Wilkie, thanks again for your service.
Of course he would, because Joe Biden is a beta male. Weak. What a weak, pathetic, pitiful, sorry excuse of a beta male. How is this man even an American? How? Because everything that he does is anything but American. What a loser.
Country, and thanks again for coming on.
Amazing stuff. Just like I do all the time, I deliver amazing content. So, what do you guys think of this debacle? Now, this is my third video that I've made of the great white dope, Joe Biden, and it just seems as if it's getting worse and worse and worse for him. The more that I report on him. This is the third video that I made. Joe Biden has only been in office for less than a year, and yet he is literally turning America upside down, inside out, and nobody has any trust in him at all. I mean, you name it. Everything from immigration to inflation to the debacle in Afghanistan. Anything that Joe Biden touches literally turns to dust. It looks like Joe Biden needs a little nap and allow someone to come in to truly run this country and make this country great again, because all Joe Biden is doing at this point is making America dead last again. But let me know what you think of this latest video. Leave a comment in the comment section after you subscribe to my channel, and obviously if you subscribe to my channel, you'll be able to get the latest content. You'll be able to get the latest content first, and you'll be able to access the content quicker than anyone else that did not subscribe. Okay, smash that like button if you like this video. All right, and I will be coming up with more content as I go. I want you guys to be able to be the first ones to get first dibs on the content. That's the reason why you guys should definitely subscribe to my channel in order to do so. And with that being said, this is The Conservative signing out. Have a blessed night.